This is episode 12 of the Heavy Hockey Podcast. I'm Lotsy, and I'm joined by Kevin McCurdy and Patrick, the Oilers Fanatic, tonight. Gentlemen, how are you guys doing?
Doing well. How are you doing, Ryan?
I am excellent. Thank you guys very much. We got a big show for you tonight. We are going to spend some time going through some Oilers talk, maybe some trade deadline reaction since we've had a little more time to digest and watch a couple games, and we'll talk about the chaos that was the Oilers Avalanche game last night. So it was a lot of fun to watch. And we are just days away from the Heavy Hockey Showdown, so we're going to get into that in a little while here. And we've got a special guest. We got a great interview with Jazelle General, the visual artist, coming up at 9 o'clock, so stay tuned for that. But for now, Patrick, do you got anything for a rundown today?
Well, we can basically talk about the Oilers-Avs game. We found out last night, obviously, Ty Emberson, Colton Dach, Connor Ingram all out. We didn't really get an update from the Edmonton Oilers today on those guys yet, so I imagine we'll get something tomorrow morning before the Dallas game tomorrow night. I imagine we may see Calvin Pickard called up if Connor Ingram isn't good to go. The Bakersfield Condors are taking on the Texas Stars over the next couple days, so he'll be nice and close by if they do need Pickard. And yeah, we'll have to kind of wait and see. Dach left pretty early in the game, Ty Emberson as well. So I imagine we'll get some kind of recall there unless Adam Henrique is good to go. And yeah, otherwise, I think we should just talk about that game. There's lots to cover in the Oilers-Avs game. That's not going to be covered in a quick rundown.
100%. Yeah, I'm not sure what Rico's situation is after blocking that shot. It's likely a bruise, if I had to take a guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pickard coming up. We'll see. I don't know. It looked like Ingram had a pretty bad gash on his forehead. That Knobloch said he was feeling fine after the game. So I don't know if there's a concussion issue. We'll find out tomorrow, I guess. I don't see a D recall happening. Again, I don't know how bad Emerson's injury is, but we got Stastny waiting in the wings here, so I think we'll be all right for a couple games if Emerson's gonna miss some time over the weekend or something. Yeah. And yeah, that kind of takes us into the post-game reaction from the Oilers Avs. So let's start with the controversy. Nathan MacKinnon goes plowing into Connor Ingram. The result is Ingram leaving the game with that nasty gash on his forehead. And Nurse bumped into him a little bit, but there was definitely a lot of contact from multiple directions in that scenario, in that human car crash. So, Kevin, I'll start with you. What were your thoughts on whether that should have been a major or not?
So, full disclosure, I played men's league last night, and I had to I was going by the radio version of this altercation until I saw it this morning, but I haven't still now seen the entire game yet today because today has been completely mental from the moment I got up. On the replay, I think Nathan MacKinnon was going to hit Ingram no matter what. I think Nurse nudged him and made it worse than it was going to be. But I think that if you recklessly drive into the net that hard, with not much of a chance of missing the goaltender, that you are at the least taking a 2-minute GI, right? I think, to the refs, I said this on Low Tide Show this morning, but I really, really, really don't like calling penalties based on the injuries. I like calling penalties based on the actions. So if the action is a 5-minute penalty, it's a 5-minute penalty. It shouldn't be 5 minutes because Ingram got, concussed and is bleeding from the forehead. It should be 5 minutes because it's 5 minutes. And I have a huge issue with that. But just to let lead it off to you, I don't have an issue with the refs calling it like that, but I would also expect to see them continue that trend for the remainder of the season. Otherwise, this looks on its face a little bit draconian.
Yeah, I think you nailed it there, Kev. There has to be consistency with this kind of call. If we see anything remotely close to it again, they definitely got to call it the same way. I think MacKinnon was going in there with way too much speed. And like you said, no matter what happened with Nurse, he was going to hit Ingram regardless. So, I mean, I don't think it was malicious. It was an accident. But in life, you still got to pay for accidents, whether you intended to do it or not. And he nailed Connor Ingram pretty good. It shouldn't be based on whether Ingram's injured or not, but I think it was a reckless play, as some stranger points out in the chat there. So I was fine with the way they called it, but you absolutely have to continue to call it that way here going forward.
Yeah, I mean the NHL being consistent on calls in and around the crease.
Exactly.
We're asking for a little much there. I, I honestly didn't. I didn't think a major was going to be in play. And I agree with Kevin. Like I think that came because of what happened to Ingram. Like it looked awful live, and the goalie had to leave the game. So I think that played way too big a factor into it. But the replay does show Nurse bumping MacKinnon into it or into Ingram a little bit, and there was a change of direction as a result of that contact. And Ingram was definitely falling forward a little bit as well. Right, so that angle from the corner kind of showed MacKinnon's angle. Like his skates were pointed away from the net, like the circular motion kind of out towards the net, right? Or sorry, away from the net. So I think there was still going to be some contact because Ingram was falling forward, but I think he might have just gently clipped him rather than bowling straight through him, right, like that. So I mean, MacKinnon's going hard to a spot. There's a pass coming that's backdoor. It's a tap in if Nurse doesn't make that play that he makes. So like MacKinnon's got to go hard to the net there. But yeah, it's just I think it was more of an unfortunate situation for Ingram. Like I can definitely see a 2-minute goalie interference call there, but I didn't see that as a major. In all honesty,
most people were surprised when that call came down. So I'm
I
probably
mean,
in the
even
rarity
Stoffer on the radio is like, that's a 2-minute penalty all day
Yeah.
long. And then,
Yeah.
you know, there and a few others too, like everybody thought it was 2. And like, to be fair, like there's a lot of stills floating around social media that show Ingram in this still position. And, you know, there's talk about Nathan MacKinnon's foot direction and other such things. But what it doesn't account for is on the actual replay, Ingram is moving outwards from the net. Right? Like there is that space that looks like it's wide open is not open by the time Nathan actually makes it through there. And, you know, yeah, Nurse closes off part of his escape route, but I don't think there was a no contact escape route from that, no matter how he tried.
And Nurse is doing what he's supposed to do. He's supposed to get in the way there. He's not supposed to be like, well, I should probably stay out of the way while he drives the net just in case he runs into Ingram there. So yeah. I don't really blame Nurse
either. To close that distance and to make that area on lockdown. And yeah, that puts Ingram at risk, but it's on Nate to, you know, not make plays that are high risk to that extreme, right? Like I just think 5 in a game might have been a little bit heavy-handed despite the injury. And you know, it's one thing to call a penalty again, but when it comes to basing it on whether somebody was injured or not, that's such a random chance way to make penalty calls. You know, there's penalties that a guy gets really badly high sticked and he doesn't start bleeding fast enough, so it's only 2 minutes, right? And then there's other ones where the guy barely gets touched, he's got a small scratch, and it's 4 minutes. It's just, it makes it way more inconsistent than just calling it based on the perception of the injury.
100%. And I mean, I'll use Nurse as a little bit of a segue here because he did make a good play on that play. I mean, it sucks that he knocked MacKinnon into Ingram, but he did break up the scoring chance. However, the first goal, about 30 seconds into the game, bounced in off of Nurse. For the third straight game, a goal goes in off of Nurse. So do we make anything of this? Like, I think I saw the Cult of Hockey put out a stat where they said that, like, 11 shots have bounced towards the net, or 11 grade A's have bounced off of Nurse, and only 10 have gone off the rest of the rest of the Oilers decor collectively.
I
Right?
mean,
So,
I would love for him to like point his toes in a slightly different direction, or like just not do exactly what he thinks he should be doing, but something slightly different than he thinks he should be doing, because it's uncanny. If he scored as often in the other net as he did in his own net, man, we would be loving this guy. Right?
Well, he'd be getting the boost treatment. At least he scores. I mean, there's the odd defensive lapse, but at least he scores a lot of goals.
I mean, like, there's certainly an element of luck to all this, right? Like, even if you are, even if you're standing with your skates pointing towards the middle of the ice and you're in a battle with a
I
guy,
know. I
but
know. I'm
it
just
happens
being
to
a
him a lot.
jerk, right? Like it happens to him an uncanny amount. I like
And
it's
that's kind of the worry, right? That's why a lot of people are frustrated, and you add that to just the pile of mistakes that he's making otherwise in D zone coverage and the amount of goals he's been on the ice for that don't go in off of him, right? You start to wonder, and this isn't just a this year thing. Like, lots of goals have come or bounced in off of Nurse in the past as well, and not just Nurse. To be fair, it's lots of other Oilers D over the years. So, like, Skinner got beat by a ton of those kinds of plays where it just bounces off of somebody way away from the net, and it's like, what happened here? So, like, is it something that Nurse and Oilers D are doing wrong or not doing well enough, or is it really just luck?
Can we stop for just a second? And I know, but can we talk about what Nurse did right last night for just a second? Because the answer was not 0. He was on for 2 goals for, only 1 against. The 1 against going off of Nurse, unfortunately. But at least, he made up to it by being part of the winning side of the thing. It's also 69% expected goals for last night, which is singing the praises, because the defensive core from a expected goals perspective was not in a good spot last night. So he was not part of the problem. He was definitely part of the solution. And I just want to make sure that we're bringing a little bit of balance and we're not just ragging on Nurse 100% of the time. That said, if he could get the frig out of the way of the puck, that would be great. Like, or make sure he blocks it. Like, I don't care what you have to do. If you got to do the stork, or you got to point yourself, like, come up with a different jam, but the puck needs to stop going off him into the net.
Yeah, if you're going to get in the way, get in the way.
Ace, how many goals?
I don't even think it's him trying to block shots and failing. It's just like he's always otherwise involved or otherwise engaged when this happens, right? Like, he's fighting somebody in front, trying to tie a guy up, and it just goes in off a shin pad. Or last night, it just goes in off his stick. He wasn't anywhere near the net. I don't think he was trying to block that shot, but it happened to go off of him.
Here's a question for you guys. How many right defensemen this year have had goals go in off of them? I think like maybe Emberson 1 comes to mind, and maybe Troy Stetcher while he was still here. But like, why does nothing ever go off of Bouchard and into the net?
Maybe it's because he's better defensively than people give him credit for. Is that a hot take?
No, the bloody guy deserves to be in the Norris nomination this year, and I'm going to die on this hill.
I'm actually with you on that. I'm glad I'm not alone.
But no, it's for serious. Is it the left-hand shot defensemen are less lethal? Like, it seems to me that, like, and maybe it's just because I do watch too much Evan Bouchard, but it seems like all the superstar defensemen are scoring on the right-hand side of the ice. Like, that's some of Quinn Hughes' territory. That is most definitely Cale Makar and Evan Bouchard's territory. Like, why the power imbalance from left to right? Oh, we don't have to answer that. It's just something interesting and also kind of useless to ponder all at the same time.
Yeah, no, I hadn't been observing that closely, but now I'm thinking of it. Like, a Nurse just comes to mind so often. Like, I'm thinking of a couple from Skinner in previous seasons, but like, yeah, I don't feel like going through the tape of every single goal this year trying to find that information. But it's just interesting. And we got Noel in the chat here saying maybe one has nothing to do with the other. Luck is luck, and that's always been my line of thought when it comes to this. Like it's hockey's a fast game, and there's a lot of bodies out there, and the pucks, especially everyone's trying to go to the same place, right? The puck's going in the net, people are going in the net because that's where you score goals from. Shit's gonna happen sometimes, and I think it's just unfortunate that it's happened to Nurse. But there's been some chatter online that maybe he needs to be a little better at clearing the net front, and that won't happen to him as often. So hard to say. Now, watching Connor Murphy clear the front of the net, that makes me think that there might be something to it because that's a type of defending we haven't seen too often in Edmonton for a lot of years.
I got to stop providing Noel compromat here because this is not good for our private conversations because he's just going to throw this in my face.
We have to keep in mind too, Nurse is one big guy too. So I mean,
that's the thing, man. Like, okay, Nurse used to be a certain way, and I don't know if it was the Chris Russell school of defense or what it was that broke him, but like flamingoing on the ice is not the way for him to be successful as a defenseman. He needs to reinterpret the power forward into the power defenseman dynamic, right? Like, be an asshole in the corners a bit more, be an asshole in front of the net a bit more, and no more muffins to the net. If you want to shoot the puck, go friggin' nuts. He's got an absolute cannon if he uses it, but he needs to use it not as a sifter. Like that, Nurse is potentially one of the most like naturally skilled defenders in the league from a pure like raw ability point of view. He's one of the best skaters in the league by, you know, I would put him right up there with anybody that is in the top defensive skating percentiles. No question. Extremely powerful skater. But it's where, like, if he just plays a simple game that is hard in the corners and, you know, he sort of takes the stops off and just lets it rip from the point and chooses his placement just a little bit better. Like, he has all of the tools to be a totally nasty defenseman and just a lack of, I don't know if it's confidence or if it's swagger right now or what it is, but he has the ability to take it to another level, and I just wish we would see some of that because we've seen it before.
It's frustrating. Like we know he's got so much potential, and we've seen it out of him before. We just want him to reach that more often, right? Like I'm sick of talking about the contract. It is what it is, but I just want to see the dude reach his potential because I know that his potential really helps our team. When he's at his best, he's unbelievable. Let's get into some other aspects of that game last night, though. That was a big win for the Oilers. We passed Vegas to move into second place in the Pacific Division, and we took down the league's top team to do it. Now, they were missing a few key guys. They were missing Landeskog and Arturi MacKinnon, and obviously MacKinnon missed the third period because he was out for the game after that goalie interference play. But still a decent win for the Oilers against a high-quality roster. So does this make you feel any better about their odds into the playoffs, or are you still a little worried if you were worried before? Well, Patrick, let's start with you.
Well, these last two games, I think, have just been absolutely massive. I know Vegas hasn't been playing great and Colorado's struggling a bit, but these are wins that the Edmonton Oilers just absolutely had to have. Like, we can lose here and there for the rest of the season, but it can't be any kind of streaks or anything like that. They need to put some wins together, and we're one win short now of our season record of 3 in a row, and it's against really good teams. We're not beating bottom of the barrel teams, so I was really impressed with the focus on defense the last couple of games, keeping a team like the Avalanche to 3 goals. I felt the Oilers dominated a lot of parts of that hockey game. And yeah, I think we're seeing a lot of different things going the Oilers' way here. And hopefully Connor Ingram is okay because he was looking great there. But if not, Calvin Pickard will be there to step up, I'm sure. But this has been 2 huge wins for this team that they absolutely had to have. And I know we were all a little nervous there at the trade deadline with how they played against the Carolina Hurricanes. So these have definitely been 2 statement games, I think.
Kev, what about you?
I think you're bang on with that, Patrick. I think it's, they're incredibly important wins to the, at least this season's future of the organization. I think the new guys are bringing something. It's really interesting to me, and somebody pointed this to me out on Twitter, but I'll share it here. Jason Dickinson was absolutely underwater last night on Corsi, like completely underwater, 3-4, 21 against. Like just ugly stuff. You know how many high danger chances against he allowed? 0. Not a single one. So when you talk about playing gnarly defensive hockey, like, yeah, the puck is coming at you all night, but not a single high danger chance against. So that guy is doing exactly what he's paid to. Szymanski, same story, not as much ice time, 8 minutes. 2 and 7, also no high danger chances against. Connor Murphy, 12 and 35. He had a few more. He and Jake Wallman are what's the vogue term this week? Learning to trust each other, I guess. What was it for the Jari
Learn
thing?
faster, please.
Yeah, well. Connor Murphy's getting the full Jake Wallman experience, I think, is what Bruce Kurlock said, and that made me laugh. So we'll talk about it.
Yeah, it was funny. I like that point about Dickinson because it kind of goes along with what I was saying about him in my analysis that I wrote after the trade deadline. Like looking at his expected goals numbers, his actual goal numbers, listening to what you said about his shot totals being lopsided in favor of the opposition. Like, we're relying on his actual defensive skills to have him be able to outscore opponents potentially, right? But I think it's a recipe to be outscored over time. We saw that in Chicago this season because he got a lot of usage against the elites and still got outscored 6-10, 6-10 in however many minutes. Like he was near the league leaders in actual time or percentage of time against elites. So like it's a large sample size with fairly low event, but he got outscored handily. Now, part of that, it's a bad Chicago team. Part of that is the quality of competition he had. But I worried about that with him coming here, especially if the idea was to ease the load on Connor and Leon and give Dickinson some of the heavier minutes against the elite guys. Well, okay, Dickinson's going to hold him at bay for most of the time, but eventually the dam's going to burst. Something's going to sneak through, right? Last night it didn't, which was good. But I think over time, if those numbers continues, he's going to end up getting outscored, and that's what scares me a little bit. But overall, the last couple of games, like I didn't read a ton into the Vegas game because they're not really playing super well either. It was a battle of 2 teams that were trying to find themselves and get back to their winning ways. But they stepped up when they needed to. It's a big win against a division opponent, and there wasn't a lot of room up there for either side. So that was a decent win, but that didn't do a lot to instill more confidence in me. This Avalanche game, it's a game that if they were going to beat the Avs, that's the way you'd expect them to do it. A 4-3 win, a little bit of chaos back and forth, high drama, entertaining hockey game, right? They're a bounce away from that being a 4-2 win and me being a lot happier. I'll acknowledge that, but I'm still not feeling totally convinced that I shouldn't be too worried about this team yet.
Well, it is just 2 games, and that score should have been way more lopsided in the Oilers' favor. They had so many opportunities they did not score on.
Credit to Mackenzie Blackwood. Dude stood on his head last night. That could have easily gotten out of hand as well. Then I might have been singing a different tune today.
Yeah.
But yeah, they still got to find a way to beat Blackwood, though, right?
Yeah. Well, I think we're all like, you had a 5-minute power play Avs kill it and then tie the game. It's like, oh, don't tell me they're going to blow this hockey game.
You know
So
the
I'm just
best
glad
way
they did.
to, the best way to have beaten Mackenzie Blackwood would have been to trade for him last year when he was available. I'm just gonna throw this out here, like opportunity missed. Like,
I mean, fair, but yeah, it's here or there now. But yeah, you can make that argument. I don't think the appetite was there to trade Skinner last year, although a lot of people would say it should have been. But it is what it is now.
I couldn't pay that price. So we're going to pay a lot more this year.
yeah.
Austin Husky in the chat here talking about Vasily Podkolzin. It's been a revelation this season, not just his offense, but speed, defensive play, physicality. Last time I looked at the hits leaders, he was 13th, and that was at the trade deadline because I was looking at Colton Dock, who was 10th at that time. So he's bringing it physically. Career high 15 goals now, which that he got in that in the Vegas game. So that was awesome to see. But I made a comment in our heavy hockey group chat last night, like, I want whatever leg workout he's doing right now, because the last 2 games, he's just showed me speed I haven't seen out of him ever. He's got some burst.
And the NHL needs to add sound effects. And when Podkolzin winds up, they just need to add the turbo sound effect to him on his way, because he just like spools up and he's gone. I don't know what, like, made a joke about upgrading Vasily's firmware on Twitter earlier. And like, I don't understand where this player came from. I don't know if it's confidence. I don't know if it's work that he's doing off the ice or privately, potentially. But he has absolutely roasted 2 sets of defensemen 2 games in a row. And I don't know, man, that if he can take this up another level again, which I think he can, we've got a bit of a demon on our hands here.
I watched him live. Sorry, Patrick. I watched him live at the Ivan Hlinka tournament, or I guess it was the Gretzky Hlinka Cup. I want to say 18 when it was here the first time. Yeah, like Broberg was in that tournament and Podkolzin, but I remember watching him go end to end and score with ease, and I was like, "Oh boy, this kid's gonna be a handful." Like when Vancouver got him at 10, I was like, "That's a steal." But then it just didn't work there for whatever reason, and he fell into our laps. And it's taken him a little bit, but you know what? The kids put the work in, and now he's starting to see the dividends. And I'm super happy that we've got him locked in for another couple of years at a reasonable price after this one. So it's awesome to see.
I see Noel's not taking hostages tonight.
And yeah, okay, fair comment.
Yeah, I was just going to mention before, like, we have to remember how the season started for him, like terrible tragedy and everything like that. I'm sure it took him a while to get going here. So I think we're just seeing that dividends and the promise that we saw before, and it's just getting the chance to really flourish now.
That's a fair point. He went through a really difficult thing earlier in the season, losing his father. So yeah, it's awesome to see him thriving and succeeding now.
Yeah.
So,
Edmonton's water is better though, like for real. That's not even made up.
You mean there's nothing in the water here?
No, we got the freshest of mountain spring water here.
Maybe that's what it is. He's just benefiting from a full year of Edmonton spring water.
Well, I don't
know.
Thank you
for reminding me to hydrate, by the way.
His skating the last couple, like just his game, and like I love everything about his game. It's not hard to like. It's the same thing as Zach Hyman, right? Like you love Hyman because he works his ass off basically whenever he's on the ice. A little bit of defensive sloppy this year, but whatever. That's not always been his forte either. But like everything, every time you see that guy, he's on the ice before practice. He's on the ice after practice, right? Like he works his bag off during practice. Then he shows up into these games and he's going like a bat out of hell for however many minutes and seconds Knobloch will give him per 60. And now he's cranked it up to this another level where he's can do end-to-end rushes and like rip through guys like they're nothing. Like completely graduated the Leon Draisaitl school of ice management in what seems like a 48-hour period, and that's kind of cool to watch.
Yeah, no, Vancouver keeps messing up, and we reap the dividends. Thanks for pods. Thanks for taking Kane.
What a disaster that like it went from there's tons of interest to there's no interest. But he's going to be lucky to get a PTO next year. Like,
I think if LA had stayed in it, Evander Kane probably would have ended up there on trade deadline day. Just a guess, just with Holland and stuff. But
I think that's definitely a Holland type, right?
Like, yeah, but I think obviously that was the only place because no one else put in an offer. So,
yeah, that's predictable. Honestly, like, I'm so glad we traded him when we did. Like after the like I was worried about him going into the playoffs last year, and he had a decent start, but he disappeared by the end, and I just think it's time for him. Like I think he's fallen off his cliff. He's hit his decline, and he's not the good player that he once was anymore. So yeah, I don't blame a team for not taking that $5.125 million contract off of Vancouver's hands. That's just not worth it.
Well, even at 50% retained, it was too much.
I wouldn't want to pay for that retention on Kane, right?
Yeah. Can you imagine trading a fourth rounder? It was a fourth rounder, I think, for Evander Kane, and then not being able to offer him for free, even with retention, to another team. Like,
it was the one that they gave to us for Podkolzin.
Yeah, so it's essentially Podkolzin.
It ended up being Podkolzin for Kane, essentially.
Jesus, that's just missing gift wrap, and it's done, right? Like,
yeah. Oh my goodness. Any other thoughts on that game? I know Jari stepped in and played really well. Made a huge save immediately upon coming into the game with a few seconds left in the second period there. That was good to see. Made a few
Tristan
big saves in the third period.
That.
Yeah, he needed something positive.
Yeah. Well, like the last thing when I saw him going in there, I'm like, oh no. Just because I know he struggled. I do kind of feel bad for him though, and like all we needed was for the Avs, for him to go in there and the Avs score like 4 goals in the third period, and he just gets it even more. So I was really happy to see him have that third period come in, make some big saves. Because
never mind the third period.
Yeah,
never mind the third period. What about the last 40 seconds of the second period?
Yeah, start in second, and then
that turned into a total shit show. I don't know if it was Michaels or Stauffer that I was listening to at that point, but he's like, the one thing, or it might have been Cameron, the one thing that can't happen is the Oilers get laxed with 40 seconds to go. And sure enough, there was 2 high danger chances against in the last 40 seconds that he had to make like absolutely gnarly stops against.
Absolutely, yeah.
So like that's such a statement thing from him. Like I sincerely hope that he harnesses that and uses it for his future, because I think we're going to need every ounce of it.
Yeah, like, I don't want a goaltender that's got no confidence coming into the playoffs, right? I want both guys feeling good about themselves.
Yeah.
Well, then we just got to call Captain Picard up, and
we do have that option if we need.
Oh, hey, look.
Right, so we are at 8:57. We are a few minutes away from our special guest joining us for an interview tonight. And that's my cue to start talking about the Heavy Hockey Showdown. So I'm just going to quickly touch on a couple event details before we get into the interview. So in case you haven't been listening to us talk about this over the last couple months, and in case you haven't been paying attention to us on X, we've got the marquee event on Saturday, the Heavy Hockey Showdown hockey game. It's Team Heavy Hockey versus Team Edmonton Sports Talk at the Downtown Community Arena from 1 p.m. till 4 p.m. And it's all in support of the Sexual Assault Center of Edmonton. And Friday night, we've got the Heavy Hockey Showdown pre-party at the Canadian Ice House. Doors at 5 o'clock. Oilers puck drop at 6. Tickets are $10, and you can go to heavyhockey.com/heavyhockeyshowdown to buy those. But yeah, so we got the silent auction going on there, which is going to be incredible this year. And the guest that we're going to have on here in just a second has donated some of her art to the silent auction. So we'll chat with her about her donations and what they mean to her in just a second here. But lots of great items for bidding on that. And Edmonton Sports Talk's going to be doing their pre and post game shows live at the venue on Friday night. And honestly, it's just going to be an incredible time with a great group of people. And thank you for the hashtag there, Russ. That's awesome. We are for SACE. And that's why we're doing all this. It's for the Sexual Assault Center of Edmonton. And they offer some incredible services like free counseling and assistance for the survivors that want to go through the police and court process. And they do a ton of public education and outreach. So they're an incredible organization that needs our support. But now I'm going to bring in Jazelle, and we're going to talk a little bit more about this.
Hello?
Hello, Jazelle.
Mic test? Everything working okay? Hi.
Yeah, you're all good. How are you doing tonight?
Fantastic. Good. How are you guys?
I think we're all doing pretty good, eh, boys?
Yeah, thrilled to have you.
Amazing.
Awesome. So again, I'm going to start with a big thank you for your donations to the Heavy Hockey Showdown silent auction. We truly appreciate it. But I'm going to let you talk about your art and why you felt it was so important for you to donate to this cause.
Yeah, absolutely. So just want to take a moment again. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you to you and everyone else who's been working really hard to get this incredible event organized and collect donations to help support the Sexual Assault Center of Edmonton. For me personally, I'm a local artist aside from all the other things that I do here in Edmonton, and I really enjoy doing art. And I don't have unlimited wall space, so I need to pay it forward with my artwork. And what I have discovered maybe 10 years ago is that donating art pieces to silent auctions of different not-for-profits in Edmonton, it's just really, really rewarding. So I've been doing it for a while, and this is the latest opportunity to do that. And more so with this particular organization, the Sexual Assault Center of Edmonton means a lot to me because I was a former client of the organization back about 9 years ago. And so I would be one of those folks who can truly attest to how incredible their services are. So I'm sure it's quite obvious what led me to accessing SACE. We don't have to go through all that kind of detail. But I found out about their adult counseling opportunity. I registered and everything else. And around that time, just since this is talking about sports, I'll give you some stats of my experience over there. Within the course of 7 months, I got 20 appointments. And at the time, and I think until now, a typical therapy appointment, counseling appointment is about $200, right? So imagine for 7 months, $200 across 20 appointments, $4,000 for a mental health support. Like even for people with regular jobs, like that's a lot of money. And this is something I did not have to pay for when I was going through all those appointments at SACE. I also participated in some of their public education sessions. They encourage clients to attend those before you start your sessions, and it really, really transformed my life. It's really quite surprising, but also not surprising how the traumas we face also affects us negatively in other aspects of my life. And once I started to address that, it's also improved little things that are actually mean a lot, like with how I conduct myself at work and friendships and my romantic life and my family life. So that's what inspired me to donate this time my artwork to SACE. If I end up becoming a millionaire or a professional hockey player, I will pour in millions of dollars to SACE if I could. But it's a really worthwhile cause, and I'm really glad that they're doing this because their services are very, very needed.
100% they are. And I'm going to share a little bit of information from SACE's info report that they do, or their annual report that they do every year. just on the impact of counseling, right? So 71% of the children that received counseling through SACE reported reduced trauma symptoms, which is huge. That number goes up to 82% of adults that that reported reduced trauma symptoms. But 100% of group counseling clients felt more in control of their emotions in their lives. So that just it's a couple of more stats for us here as we're talking about stats, but it just shows just how important counseling is in the recovery process for survivors. And what all of your donations to SACE do is it helps people get access to counseling faster. So more people are getting it sooner when SACE gets your support. So like we certainly appreciate any support that we get from donations to the silent auction like Jazelle made, and from anyone out there that's seeing the QR code at the bottom of the screen to donate to SACE. That's going to take you to our Heavy Hockey Showdown Just Giving fundraising page, so you can donate to the cause there if you wish. But so tell us a little bit about the pieces that you donated, and I actually have pictures uploaded here that I can share with everybody if we want to talk about them here. Now, I of course don't have the titles and the images here, but I'll bring them up one at a time, and you can tell
Sounds
me a little
good.
bit about them. So this one here, yeah, take us through that one.
Oh yes, that
Okay, can
one.
you?
So
You can see it. Okay.
yes, I'm able to see it. It's popped up on my screen. That's pretty cool actually. So yeah, this one, just to give a bit more context about my art style, okay, that might help a little bit. I
Yeah.
like doing artwork, and I'm cheap. So upcycled materials is definitely what I try to use. And I don't have a particular art style exactly. It's just I work with whichever materials is presented in front of me, and let the colors and the materials do the talking. So, but if I really have to categorize myself, like abstract art, I suppose it's the broadest way to describe my artwork. So this one right here, it's a pretty tall piece actually, and also that's why I don't have room for it in my house. So it's better to uh, pay it forward, and it's used. The materials are a like one of those generic print canvas prints that are just covered with paint, and the materials are the mediums I used are house paint and spare nail polish actually. And yeah, I was just in a mood and wanting to express what I felt at that period in time. And that's why I decided to make that happen. I don't sound like a fancy artist or art curator or anything like that, because it's just not my style, but I genuinely enjoyed doing this art piece. I hope someone's um, big hallway or stairwell ends up being beautified by this one.
I'm very sure that it will. It's this one is correct me if I'm wrong. It's called Through.
Mhm.
So it's up for auction at our 32 auction site, which is pinned to the Heavy Hockey Network X profile, so you can find the donation link there. But let's. There's two other pieces that you've donated here as well. I will pop up on the screen here for you. Can you see that one?
Yes, I can. Yeah, I had such a great time making this piece actually, because it was, so again, to tell you, I guess, like the behind the scenes, that's an actual like picture frame. Like that's glass, like a glass picture frame. And I use a lot of upcycled house paint I have picked up from the eco station at the city of Edmonton. And I just let the materials do their thing. Actually, there's really no, I suppose, like deliberate artistic practice and whatnot. It was a mess though. I There's some permanent paint stains in our dining table, and my husband is very patient about that. I guess it's part of the package he married into. But yeah, it was a fun piece to make. Very very messy because it's house paint. It took a week for it to completely cure, and
Oh, wow.
yes, I've had that. Yep. Again, it has been in my storage for a few years. prior to that, my father-in-law's small business, he actually made like a little gallery of my art pieces for anyone who might want to buy it, and no one did. But hopefully, maybe that's meant to be, and now it's at the auction, and it's meant for someone else's place now.
Yeah, we'll find it a new home this weekend. Absolutely.
Yeah,
And then one last piece here. This one.
that's right. That's one. That's the one called Construction Zone, correct?
Yes.
Yes. So, fun backstory. I hope I'm not like really doxing myself, but I live near the current West LRT construction zone. Like, I see it, I hear it, like every day since it all started in 2021. So that might give you an idea of approximately where in the city I live. And yes, as just like with the other materials or projects that I have done, I just let the paints do the talking. And then once it dried up, I'm like, what does this remind me of? Like the things I see in the sidewalk and the roads every day, with the chaos of either the materials or in the machinery and the seasons, and that how that affects the sidewalks and the roads. Yeah, I suppose that's one thing that artists do. They try to cope with whatever circumstances they're facing, and I am praying that the LRT construction ends on time and in budget, basically. Yeah.
So some big prayers are going to have to get
Yeah,
answered. I
that's
think
big.
we all know how construction goes.
Yes.
Or
Big
or
ceilings,
fast
big peace.
or
Yes.
faster and over budget, like.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's cool. A lot of people can relate to the construction issue, especially here in Alberta. There's the two seasons, winter and construction season, right?
And they're the
Indeed.
same season more often than they should be.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Yeah,
Mm.
a lot of crossover.
Yeah, and
tons
to
of
be honest,
crossover.
I can't even get too mad at it because whenever I walk by and I see the construction of the LRT transit stations, the fact that there's activity there, it's all like covered by the tarp or plastic or whatever. It means progress. So I'm like, yay!
It'll get done eventually, and yes, hopefully soon, so that everybody's lives can go back to normal.
Indeed. Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. So, where can people find you, Giselle, and where can people find your work?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm on the socials, including the popular ones like Instagram and yes, X. I'm still there, and even the unique ones like Mastodon and Blue Sky. I'm there. LinkedIn, so I can be very reachable. Easiest way to find me is to search my first name, last name, because I do involved in the community, so you don't have to remember like my hashtags and handles and that kind of stuff. And yeah, so if you want to collab on an art project, communications project, community activities, fundraisers, neighborhood events, and whatnot, I'm happy to support in whichever way I can because I love Edmonton. I love doing local things, especially the ones where you can see tangible impact towards our neighbors, so our fellow Edmontonians. So yeah, Jazelle General, you can find me on the socials, and my website also has my online form. I don't have a live gallery of my works right now, but if you have a piece in mind, happy to do commissions or perform, be a panelist, all those things. Thanks.
Awesome, and I've got the QR code to Giselle's website up by my head here, which is JazelleGeneral.com. Easy enough to find. So, yeah, Giselle, thank you once again for coming on, and thank you so much for the donations again. We truly appreciate it and the difference you're making for SACE.
Thank you so much and enjoy. Have a good night.
Thanks, Giselle.
Thank you. You as well.
Thank you.
So yeah, that was Jazelle General, visual artist who has donated some of her work to SACE for our silent auction coming up on Friday. So yeah, awesome to have her on and to hear her story, hear her perspective, especially as someone that's used SACE's services. It's just another reminder of just how important that those services really truly are. So we're really happy to have her on, and Yeah, donate to SACE as you can. I've seen people scan the QR code. Thank you guys so much for that. Um, Once again, if you guys want to come and see some of her art in person, you can do that Friday night at the Canadian Ice House during the Heavy Hockey Showdown pre-party. Tickets are $10, and they'll be on display at the silent auction. And if you can't make it out on Friday, then come on out and support the game on Saturday. It's going to be free admission. Robert Clark singing the anthem. We've got lots of interactive intermission activities. I know our lovely MCs, Lauren and Chris, are going to be running a great program for you guys there. And yeah, Team Edmonton Sports Talk is going to have Dustin Nielsen, Tom Gazzola, Zach DeCombe, Ice Cube, YouTube Trav, and Benny, and Sean Bell. Former Oiler Sean Bell is going to be joining us for the game. It'll be fun to skate against him. Hopefully he takes it easy on us a little bit. And then Team Heavy Hockey, myself, Kevin McCurdy, Michael Hebert, Oilers Live, and Bob the goalie for sure. Well, I don't even know for sure. Hopefully his back holds up here. But we got a lot of incredible people playing in this game, and it's going to be a great time for a fantastic cause. So come on out Saturday, 1 p.m., downtown Community Arena if you're able. And so I'll let you guys give your thoughts on all that. Oh, before I do, I forget this every week. A massive thank you to our sponsors for the event: Turtle Island Technology Solutions, Sherwood Park Counseling Center, and Flirt Cupcakes. Without those sponsorships, we can't make the event what it is. So shout out to them and then all the incredible work that they do. And maybe Dash is going to be playing. We don't 100%.
He's a game time decision. He's a game time decision. Yeah, he might be out for warm-ups, and then he might have to come and coach from the bench or something. We'll see.
Yeah, he's certainly going to be at the venue no matter what. It's just we're not sure if he's going to have skates on his feet or not. So
if he's not playing, I'm putting him to work.
Yeah, Patrick's going to be
on the video
at the venue. Yeah, Patrick's running the video crew, so there's going to be lots of great content coming out of the event. But boys, how are we feeling? We're 2-3 days away.
As ready as I'm going to be. As ready as I'm going to be. I'm looking really deeply looking forward to getting curb stomped by an NHLer. That's going to be great.
Yeah, Sean Belzy just made things look real easy last year. I don't think he was trying as hard as he could, and he was still skating circles around us.
Well, as he should.
As he should.
Former NHLer.
Yeah, in his sleep, he can sleep circles around us. No issue there. For me personally, I'm feeling about as ready as I can be as well. You can probably tell I got a little bit of a cold going on, and I've talked about it a little bit before, but I guess 8 weeks ago now, I set out to lose 12 pounds before this event, so I could be at 170-pound playing weight for this event, and I hit that weight yesterday, so that was a big one for me. So feeling good, or about as good as I can anyway. And I reached my fundraising goal. Well, I reached the event minimum fundraising goal finally. So thank you to everybody who donated to that, and to everybody who continues to donate to SACE as well. We know there are a couple players that are still needing to get where they need to go. So that donate to SACE QR code, you can see a list of all the players that are fundraising. Anybody that's below $500, let's boost those pages up a little bit in the next couple days here if we can. That'd be awesome. And with that, I think we can move back into some Oilers talk. Big weekend coming up. Yeah, thank you, Russ. I appreciate that. Appreciate that a lot. Big weekend coming up here for the Oil. We got game in Dallas to finish up this gauntlet of a stretch where they got Carolina, Colorado, Dallas. Then St. Louis on Friday night, which is the game we'll be watching during the pre-party. And then home to Nashville on Sunday. Leon Draisaitl bobblehead day. So, how do we feel about this
early
game?
Sorry, I missed the
How are we
question.
feeling? Sorry, how are we feeling about this Dallas game?
A lot better now, based on how Vegas and Colorado went. Obviously, we'll have to see what the injury situation is. Like we were talking about earlier, we got Doc Emberson and Ingram all up in the air, and it's a back-to-back, obviously, with Dallas and St. Louis. So we'll definitely need both goaltenders here over the next couple of days. But Dallas will be another amazing test here for the team if they can go 3 for 3. Vegas, Colorado, Dallas. I mean, that's going to go a long, long way in building the confidence in this team. They can get on a bit of a roll here, match their season high for wins, like I was saying earlier. And after that, I mean, St. Louis obviously isn't as big of a test, but if they can get those 3 wins together, maybe string another one in, have a chance to get win number 4 against St. Louis there, I think it's going to go a long way.
Yeah, 100%. I'm seeing Dallas is 9-0-1 in their last 10. Yikes. 1-2 in a row. So that that overtime loss must have happened 3 games ago. But Dallas is flying.
Yeah.
Now, I saw there was an incident, Rupe Hintz and Nate MacKinnon. I didn't see fully what happened, but I guess Hintz is hurt. I think that's the only real injury on the Stars, aside from Seguin, who we know is out for the year.
So what you're saying, this is probably their best test out of the last 3. With
It
Vegas
might be.
Yeah.
If
they
it might
It'd be
be.
such a statement, though. It would
Yeah.
be such a statement. You basically spank all 3 of the teams that are most likely to be your direct competition coming through the playoffs. Like,
Yeah.
with the Wild being the, like, if they have to face the Wild at some point, I don't know. I probably should just call it. Like, that team terrifies me to play against as the Oilers. Like, it's every game is excruciating. Not so much in that it's boring. It's just that's a really, really hard team to play hockey against, and I don't think that I see Dallas quite the same way. I still think that there's weaknesses to exploit there.
I personally think Dallas is the worst of those 3 teams in the Central, and I feel like we've beaten Dallas twice in a row when they haven't made any major additions to their roster. So I feel like we can take Dallas if we need to. Yeah, you're right, Kev. Minnesota scares the bejesus out of me. It's never been a great matchup for us historically, but they have loaded up. But there's a small part of me thinks they may have done too much at the deadline. That team that gets a glimmer of hope and then they go all in and make a bunch of moves, and then the chemistry changes and then they lose early. I can see it
Potentially,
happening.
But that team gives me high. Like, there's a few players in the league that give me hives every time they touch the puck. Like, I don't know, Adrian Kempe, for example. Jack Eichel can do it sometimes. If I was another team, Connor McDavid. Like, those kinds of guys, Nathan MacKinnon. Like, you sit up and pay attention. Minnesota's entire roster kind of does that as a combined unit. It's gnarly hockey to watch and to play against, and they've got a bunch of hurt in their team, and guys like Hartman who aren't afraid to take some liberties, and they got a crap load of skill, and I think that's one of the teams that I would be the most worried about going up against. But Dallas, I think it'll be a good test, but this is a team that we've beaten 2 years in a row now in the playoffs, and I think they'll treat this game with the same respect.
Do we think that Gulletson being behind the bench changes anything? Like, I mean, Dallas absolutely killed us in November, right? So,
Depends.
so
It depends on how well Knobloch can do his best Riker impression and just totally flip the table on the playbook, right? Like, I think it's that. That's kind of where it's at. If Gulletson is sneaky good coach, and this team is clearly missing his presence, and I wonder if he's able to exploit us as effectively as it would seem. We'll see, I guess, tomorrow how that turns out.
Absolutely. So yeah, it's going to be the end of a little stretch, a little litmus test against the league's best for this new look Oilers team. So it's going to be an exciting game to watch. Nashville and St. Louis over the weekend. Those are the kinds of games that you might fall into a bit of a mental lull for, right?
Oh
And
yeah,
then fail to
Danger Will
show up. And
Robinson day. Yeah, no. I'm glad you could see the writing on the walls. One of those happened to be a matinee too, because that would be very fitting.
I know, and Friday night's not a matinee. We're going to the game on Sunday, Patrick. I can't even figure out. I don't
Yeah.
know what time that's at. I'm pretty sure that's an evening
It's
game.
at 6 o'clock.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah,
Yeah.
early evening. So yeah, no matinees there, thankfully. Holy, last thing the Oilers need is a matinee for their third and four nights.
Yeah. I don't know. Like we're talking, like I can see where you guys are coming from. Definitely that those are going to be possible letdown games. But like I said, this team really, where we are in the season, they can't afford to have a bunch of letdown games. Like
No,
they've got to
have
be
to get up
rising
and
to the
go.
occasion here.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Now, do we see that happening, or or are we going to continue with our win two, lose one, win two, lose three?
I think it sure seems like, and I get that the last two games have, but the last two games have been the closest thing to, maybe not the closest, but bordering on defensive perfection that they've played in ages. Especially last night, right? Like they played an absolutely shut down game of hockey for the most part for 60 minutes. And if they can take that into lesser teams and hold, 95% of that in those games that, every game means something at this point. They're not in the same position that they've been in previous seasons where they have to, they have the advantage of being way up in the standings. And if they lose a couple, it's not the end of the world. This team, even with all the roster changes, is capable of going on an absolute run. And now would be right about the time that it would be nice to see that.
Yeah, they need to, and the Oilers have typically done pretty well in March, right? Like they usually heat up, and they know they're in the battle for a division title or a playoff spot of some kind, usually in March. So they usually bring their best. I mean, hopefully we're starting to see it here. But I'm just looking at the standings here. Oilers and Knights are tied at 72, and then you got the Ducks sitting there at 75 points. Now, I remember seeing recently that they got 20 regulation wins, which is not very good. I'm just going to pull up NHL.com here to get some regulation wins here. But what do we think of this Ducks team? Can they really win this division?
I think they could.
Jay Woodcroft as a coach frightens me because he's got an axe to grind against the Oilers.
Very big one.
Yeah, we saw Gudis take some liberties last time, right? Like, no, I'm not saying that's coaching inspired. That's Gudis being Gudis, but Woodcroft kind of scares me from a coaching perspective. A, because he's a good coach, and B, because again, he's got an axe to grind with us.
I mean, fair enough. I mean, I don't know how much pull he has on that bench behind Coach Q or what role he has with the Ducks, but he does have some insight into the Oilers, especially the core guys. And yeah, maybe a little bit of resentment for the way that ended because I don't think it was all that pretty. But I got it here. Anaheim, 21 regulation wins. Tied with Vegas actually at 21 regulation wins, but they're tied for 23rd, or sorry, tied for 21st in the league with New Jersey, Calgary, Winnipeg. Right, so not exactly a fantastic cast of characters with 21 regulation wins, and Oilers not much better at 15th with 24. But I think regulation wins is a pretty good barometer for how good a team is. And the two teams we're fighting with for the division title here aren't very strong in that particular category. I know the Pacific Division's pretty weak, and the Oilers have struggled. Like for how this season started, I would not have expected a division title to be within reach, but it very much is. That's kind of where I'm going with this. Like, yeah, I asked, can the Ducks win the division? They might be able to if their young guys go on a little bit of a tear here. They can, but I guess what I'm leading into is, can the Oilers reasonably win this division?
Well, they have,
Potentially.
yeah, potentially. They got to figure out the whole winning more than 3 games in a row thing, though. I mean, we've made jokes about it all along here, and they have an opportunity here. They're showing their signs of finding their game here over the last couple of games. They got to keep it going. If they can put a stretch together, absolutely, it's wide open. They can take first place, but they have to find a way to be something that they haven't been all year, and that's consistent.
Yeah, they definitely have not been that, but I think they're in a weak division. They're just as good, if not maybe better than some of the teams they're playing against. They're fighting for the division title against, but it kind of feels like the only team that's going to beat them for that title is themselves. Right? I feel like we've said that about Oilers teams a lot. The only team that's going to beat them is themselves. And I mean, we're looking at a team that hasn't won a division since 1987 and has woefully underperformed in the McDavid era compared to expectations. We've been second in the division. We were second 5 years in a row, and I think we ended up third last year, right? But we've had better teams than this one that haven't won the division. So I did not think a division title was in the cards at all this season for this team because I thought they took a big, giant step backwards. But so did everybody else in the Pacific, or I guess everybody at the top of the Pacific anyway. I guess the emergence of teams like Anaheim and San Jose this year and Seattle playing a little better kind of brought everybody together in this division. So maybe that's a little bit of why we're seeing what we're seeing. But it's there for the Oilers to take, guys. It really is.
Oh, no question. But it's up to them. Yeah, like you said, their biggest enemy right now is themselves. If they can find consistency, if they can be that team that we know that we've seen the last couple of years, definitely some new faces in there, but there's enough carryover on this roster that they can find a way to be almost as dominant as they were before, especially with the new additions as well.
I think that the additions were smart. Like I know that it's kind of vogue to give Bowman some shit, but like what this team needed was defense, and they got some of the best defensive candidates available, and they didn't empty the cupboards doing it. Like I know some of us were talking about like, take it easy this year because I think they were able to get out of that trade deadline with spending, a little bit of assets for sure, but still making the team arguably better. And also not completely emptying the cupboards. You still have like Howard in your system. You still have Bo Akey. You still have these pieces that, if you came across the right deal, whether that be for a goalie or something else in the off season, you have those pieces available. Especially if for whatever reason the run ends up being shorter than we all hope this offseason or into this postseason. So I'm actually pretty happy that, like, in a way, it was a reserve trade deadline. They got done what they could. They didn't overswing, but they got some sneaky good pickups all at the same time. They also needed the PK help. Yeah, Dash is bang on. They needed the PK help badly, and they literally ripped out 2 of the 4 top penalty killers and 2 assistant captains of the Blackhawks in order to make it happen. So,
Best PK in the league.
Best PK in the league. And I get that doesn't automatically translate, but you bring some new knowledge and some new information and a new skill set, and that really probably helps your team basically immediately. Plus, you don't get a letter unless you actually have some leadership qualities. So I think that both of those things are important.
Just want to point out. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, let's touch on it. No, go ahead, Patrick. I was going to touch on it, so go for it.
Yeah, well, no, I think Klima makes a fantastic point here. I think it's going to be right around 96, just with how the division has gone, and we know how all over the place the Pacific has been, and everyone's struggling, but the Oilers could definitely take it, or any team with 96 points. He's got it right in the damn ballpark there.
So that would be 24 points. That's 12 wins, 12 in the next 17 games for the Oilers. That's a reasonable clip. Like the Oilers would actually have to hit the gas pedal a little bit to get to 96, I think. But it might take that to win the division. You never know.
70%. I mean, 70% win percentage. Wow. I mean, the Oilers can do it. We've seen them go 777s before, but we haven't seen it this year yet. And I need to see it. I need it in my veins. Like, and yes, Noel, I'm aware that 2 wins, 1 loss will win you the Stanley Cup in the playoffs, but they have to get to the playoffs first.
Are we worried about that? Like, I'd have been worried about that if they had lost to Vegas, but I'm not feeling so worried about that anymore. I just don't know where they're going to be seated.
No, I'm not as worried as I was. I started to get pretty worried after the Carolina game. That was gut check time, because you're like, well, we need to basically win like 3 or 4 out of the next 5 to really get back on pace here. And oddly enough, we need to win 12 of 17 to get to 96 points. So, yeah, I think, you have to expand that scale a little bit. You're riding it out with as many wins as possible.
Yeah, we need to. Okay, if there's time for one streak, it's now.
2 wins, 1 loss will get you into the playoffs, but it will not get you 96 points.
Valid.
Get you just under that.
100%. But let's go back to what you were saying about deadline strategy here, Kevin. Let's touch on that a little bit more, because I think you were right. Like, there was a very specific strategy for Bowman. It seemed like which was to fill out the defensive side. He sees the team near the top of the league in goals for. I think they were 3rd at the deadline, and a team that was in the mid-20s for goals against. There was a very clear and defined problem, especially leading into the trade deadline and the Olympic break. Like, they bring coffee behind the bench, they go out and get Connor Murphy, they go out and get Jason Dickinson. So, are you in love with the strategy of bringing in the defensive specialists and just relying on what we got for offense, or were you hoping for a little bit of a different approach?
Okay, let me preface this. I was aware of what was available on trade deadline day, and of what was available, I think the Oilers did okay without overspending. Like, some of those guys way overspent on their center acquisitions. They way overspent on other things. And we spent the 1st round pick on something that people might not agree with, but as long as they're able to re-sign those guys, I don't have a big problem with that asset spend. Dickinson is a better pickup. I think that he is going to be the 3C that we need for the foreseeable future. As long as they can keep his cap hit reasonable, that's going to be a good fit for us for several years. Again, I think the swings to take are in the summer. Like, if you want to find that top 6 winger that we've been after for years, or if you want to find that goalie prospect that you've been after for years, or what have you, then we kind of have to wait for the summer. So what I think they did is grabbed what they could, spending what they had to and no more, and all of those pickups are going to be net positive adds for this team.
Yeah, I'm with Kevin. I like all the ads. They were definitely what this team needed. It does not have trouble scoring goals. We saw it just before the trade deadline there, the 17 goals in 3 games, and somehow we managed to lose 2 of those 3 games because 17 goals, I don't know how, wasn't enough. Defense is what this team needed. Jason Dickinson has been a fantastic ad. Colton Dach, hopefully good to go. I think Russ was pointing out there that he shouldn't be out just like day to day here, so nothing too long. And obviously Connor Murphy on the back end is huge. So I really like the ads that they brought in. I agree with Kevin. I liked that they didn't have to spend too many assets to make it happen. So they made the right moves here, I think, for this point in time. And like Kevin said, the summer is the time to go for the bigger fish.
That last statement I agree with for sure. This summer needs to be the time where they go after a big fish because they got the cap space to do it. But I also saw a post, I can't remember who did it. It might have been Blue Bullet Brad, but I may be mistaken. But it was based on the projections from a certain website. If they sign Dickinson and Murphy and Doc at those expected rates that they're likely to get based on numbers, then the Oilers will have like $4 million left to work with, and that'd be maybe to upgrade a goalie or another forward somewhere along the way. That scares me a little bit. Oh, Roslovic was the other name in there as well. Re-signing Roslovic.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that for a second, because that was a controversial point.
Okay.
Who is re-signing Roslovic at this point, and what is your criterion of doing it versus not doing it?
I'm not re-signing him yet. I want to see how the playoffs go first and how he shows up in the playoffs. Okay. There's no rush to re-sign him. There's time to re-sign him after the season's over if you want to do that.
Lotsy?
I agree with that sentiment. There's 0 point in doing it now. You got to wait and see how the spring plays out with this player. But it depends on what's available in the summer. Like I'd wait till July 1. Like I'd push it out as long as you can. I'd try to work out a trade for a bona fide, legit, no questions asked top 6 winger before the draft, because that's what we're asking Roslovic to do. Like I don't think he fits as a third line player. I don't think he's the 3C, and I don't think he's a good enough winger to drive a third line. He needs to be a complementary piece in the top 6. I don't mind what I see from him and Draisaitl together on the offensive end. Defensively, they scare me a little bit, but you put him with a Podkolzin or a Savoy, and I think it's fine. But yeah, I need to see how it goes, and I'm only re-signing him if I can't make a bigger swing for a more impactful top 6 winger at the draft.
And we do have to give like guys like Howard and Savoy a chance to grow here. You don't want to be filling all these spots and give them no chance to move up. I mean, you can always, obviously you should do some ads in the summertime. I'm not saying don't do anything, but you can also add stuff throughout the year. Give those guys a chance, another bit of runway here. If they're not producing, if they're still struggling at this point next year, you can load up at the trade deadline or even a little bit beforehand if you can see the writing on the wall. But this team needs youth to be inserted into it. You got to give youth not time on the 4th line, time at least on the first 3 lines if they're working into the system here. So, yeah, make some additions in the summer here, but also give your internal growth a chance to grow.
I think for me, it's about roster slots for the up and coming generation. I think we really need to get some of these kids playing here, and I'm hopeful that we're going to re-sign somebody like Dickinson. I understand the need for that top 6 player, and maybe, like I said, maybe you're going to end up in a situation where you move someone like Ike Howard out in order to make a deal for a bigger piece, right? Like, and that's not a slam on Howard. I don't think that's going to happen. But I'm just saying that is, with any of those prospects, that's always a possibility. Ike was the first one that came to mind.
Yeah.
Roslovic is an interesting character to me. And the reason why I say that is he tilts the ice in some ways, offensively, absolutely. He's running 4.5 in the last 10 games, 4.5 goals for 4.6 goals per 60, versus an expected goals of 3.2 goals per 60. Whereas on the inverse side for goals against, he's at 4 actual goals against with 2.0 expected goals against. So that tells me that defensively it's a bit rough because we're ending up with more goals against than we should. And he's outscoring his expected goals, which means that's either just pure skill, which some of that is. His dangles are pretty crazy, and he is a pretty smart player with finding interesting positions and unique spots to shoot from, and just making stuff happen. But it makes me worry about regression, and when that regression hits. I'm concerned about the defensive capability of this player into the playoffs, and that he is not hard enough on the puck. That's not really his style of forechecking for playoff hockey. And if he can prove me wrong, that would be absolutely amazing. Give him the deal. But I have concerns based on what I've seen from him in the past.
That's totally fair. He has that reputation. Now, I'm pretty sure he's been in the conference finals a couple times with the Hurricanes, at least once. It's like he's gone deep in the playoffs before, but
Wasn't he
again,
a scratch last year?
Yeah, he got no. Hold on. Let's be fair here. He got healthy, scratched, and then he came and had the game of his career the next game.
Okay,
Like
fair
he
enough.
went absolutely mental after he got scratched the previous game. I think he had a hat trick or he had a boatload of points that game, and he was just all over everything. So the scratch had the desired effect, which was to motivate, and he became motivated. The question is, which version of Roslovic are you going to get? Hopefully, it's the motivated version, but hopes don't win Stanley Cups, as we know. So.
yeah, it looks like he only played 2 games against Florida. I'm just not got his hockey reference game log up here. I'm only seeing 2 games against Florida, which is interesting. I didn't realize he was healthy scratched. So yeah, not overly productive in the playoffs, but he at least has some experience there. But like I can see a few different trains of thoughts. I'm actually going to be really curious to see what Bowman does this summer because like you got to make some room for your young guys. Like you got Ike Howard sitting there, and the left wing room is a little full. You got Nuge, you got Podkolzin, and they got Savoy playing left side right now because the right side is stacked, right? But yeah, on the right you've got obviously Hyman, who could move to the left if you need him to. And you got Rosie right now. You got Kapanen and Savoy there eventually. You got Freddie, who prefers the right side, could play left as well. There's names. It's pretty crowded, but I also see a lot of middling guys there. Like Nuge and Hyman are the only like true top sixers I see there. Podkolzin and Savoy, definition of middle six guys. They can bounce back and forth between second and third lines and not look out of place in either, but they're not screaming that they need to be top six just yet. They both have that potential, in my opinion, but not yet. Right? Ike Howard, same thing. He's going to have to come in and steal a spot and force Nuge down to 3C if he's going to be a full timer on this team next year. I hope he does because that would be awesome if he did. But I'm not sold yet.
You know who's actually impressed me a lot this season, despite his several injuries, is Kasperi Kapanen.
Yeah, he's
Like
been great.
I think is if you can get a similar contract for him again next year, I think you do that 10 times over. And I don't think it's going to be that cheap because he's shown up this year and he's modeling out to be a little bit more money next season. I think he's a great fit for this team. I think he works his ass off most of the time in the same way that Podkolzin and Hyman do. The other thing is he's so defensively responsible. He, besides Dickinson, which is small sample, he leads the team in goals against per 60 in the last 10 games. 1.66. Worst on that list, Jake Wallman, of the players who aren't like hurt or out for the season, or small sample, Matthias Janmark, Colton Dach. Worst is Jake Wallman at 4.78. Like, goals don't go in the net when Kapanen's on the ice, basically at all. And that is a skill set that, is going to work well with Knobloch, first of all. And second of all, that defensive responsibility is contagious to the rest of the team.
It's not
there's a
something
few guys
that Kapanen's ever had in his
No,
career. Right? He's
exactly.
had that reputation for being soft and not good on the defensive end, but look at him now. Right?
No,
He's
this is a different
all over the
player
ice.
this is a different player than you saw in, I think it was Toronto. This is a different player than you saw in St. Louis. Like, we are the last chance team, and he is in my view, better version of Klim Kostin.
Yeah, he's not going to fight like Kostin did, but yeah, just a better hockey player all around.
Sure, he's not going to fight like Kostin, but he'll sure pound the crap out of anything in his way with hits and play defensive responsible hockey game in and game out. And, even playing through significant injuries, right? Like his leg was pretty screwed up, and he's still, last game he looked really good. Yeah, waivers does change a guy.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think this team is his perfect fit too. Like, guys, they just find their fit. Like, this is his fit. So if he were like to leave us in the summer for more money, and I mean, all the power to him if he can make more money, but I think it would be a mistake. I think this is
in the same way that it was a mistake for Vinny Desharnais to leave, in the same way that it was a mistake for Klim Kostin to leave, right? Like, I get that chasing the bag to an extent, but even Connor Brown, right? Like, there are these players that for the Oilers are, men of the people, so to speak, and I think Kapanen is one of those guys. He lives for the atmosphere in Edmonton, and those are the guys we need to continue to find and hang on to, because they will do it a little bit cheaper in most cases, and they'll be successful doing it.
Yeah, like the emotional aspect is definitely a part of it. Like it's hard to overlook, right? Kapanen's definitely got that. But then there's the other side where you look at Rico, right? He loves being here, loves the crowd in the playoffs, loves the vibe of the city, but it's just not happening for him anymore. A different situation with him. He's on the back nine of his career. But yeah, it matters, but it's not everything, is what I'm trying to say.
That's definitely one way to put it. Yeah, I think he's on the 18th hole of his career, and I don't mean to be rude, but like,
it's true.
I like Rico is an easy guy to like as an individual, right? Like he's super charismatic, super, decent dude from everything that we can see, but his boots are struggling and have been for a couple of years now. And that just doesn't allow him to be in the places, and he's fought injury in a really bad way, especially this season. So, yes, Noel's right. Klim did get traded. He got traded as a cap dump, if I'm not mistaken, because
Klim wanted $2 million, and he wasn't going to get $2 million.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, he did.
So they got rid of. They got.
Well,
he did. What was that? San Jose? That he ended up with?
Detroit. It was Kostin and Yamamoto for future considerations.
Yes, but then
they waived Yamo.
Yeah, and didn't Kostin end up in San Jose eventually, or am I full
Yes,
of it?
he did.
Okay.
He did end up in San Jose eventually.
Yeah. I just would love the team to stop going for this like super veteran archetype that is, as you say, on the back nine of their career. Like, find the Dickinsons, find the guys that are 30 that have that same window as McDavid and Draisaitl, and let's go. Like, why are we chasing the was?
Yeah, that was one thing I didn't like about Holland, and one thing I've not liked about Cates' ownership in general is lack of patience. And when that happens, you usually see moves like what Holland made, which is you get the graybeards on board, you get the guys who have done it before but aren't necessarily going to do it again. Yeah, I like the way you put that, chasing the was, but we're not. We should be chasing the future. What's a guy going to do for you? Not what has a guy done, right?
Yeah. Hey, Noel, who was it that you were talking about earlier said Holland was who said Holland was good? Like, get back to me in the chat. We'll come back to this. Yeah, I don't know. The Dickinson's what, 30? I think.
Approximately therein.
Yeah, so he's got that 6-7 years left on his career. We just got to be ready to support Connor and Leon then for the next couple of years, right? And more than the next couple of years. You want to be competitive this whole time. It's not about cup runs every single year. You also have to set yourself up for success too. I understand that Ray Whitney sang the praise about Holland, but man, you cannot tell me in good faith that Cody Ceci is worth 4 times $4.5 million, and that's a stellar move. Like, I get why. Like, there are things that I respect about Holland. Let me be clear about that. There are things that I respect about Holland. Holland is a person that will build a room for the vibes, and there is value to that, contrary to the belief of some in the NHL and those that commentate on it. There is a value to building a group that meshes, that are on the same page from an interpersonal perspective, and not adding too much drama to the room. And also doing right by their players, like what he did with Jason Demers, for example, to let him get his last gameplay that he needed. I think it was 700 to cross the threshold, right? And it just worked out. There are people aspects that Holland does better than most, but between some of the deals that he signed here and some of the deals he signed in LA, they're horrendous. And they will set LA back for a half decade. And I don't know how they recover from it without rebuilding. So I'm kind of in a mixed bag of Holland. I understand, the compliment from him from a league perspective, but his recent actions, man, I don't know what he was doing in the off season.
Well, I just don't like going back to the Cody Ceci deal. Like, who else was offering him that contract? Like, who was he competing against, giving Cody Ceci that much money in term? Like, nobody else
Have
could
a good agent.
Yeah.
If he did, he's got a great agent. I'll say that.
Yeah, like, I mean, you overpay when you're in a bidding war, but like, who are they in a war with for that contract? Like,
I'm pretty sure Holland signed the previous contract for CC2. It's like, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
you deserve a raise or that, I guess. Twist my rubber arm. But no, I don't get that either. That was silly to do that much. Like, I remember doing a lot of writing on CC's contract, and I thought it was kind of close to on par. Like, I didn't think it was a huge overpay for the Oilers when he was at 3.25. But man, it was a 4x4. It wasn't just a $4 million deal. It was a 4x4.
Yeah.
It's like, I would not do that for CC. I think he's 32 years old. Like, I would not
Four
pay
and a
him
half.
that for those
It's four-
years.
4
4.5?
times 4.5. It was 4.5. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, sheesh. That's even worse.
Well, and then you've
Yeah,
got
not-
what Edmondson. Anyhow, it doesn't matter. Like,
Yeah.
they're free to govern their team how they want. In some ways, there's things that Holland does well that I like around team dynamics, and there's things that, like, from a team and asset management perspective, drive me absolutely mental about the guy. So, like, for me, Holland is a real mixed bag. I hope he's successful in LA. I have my doubts that team is going anywhere anytime soon. Especially as they lose Kopitar after this season and are in a what do we do next phase of their team.
That's fair. Yeah, the LA's in an interesting spot. Like, it's going to be a new look there without Kopitar. It's a new era. Now, they just traded for Panarin, right? So that seemed short-sighted, in my opinion. Try to give Kopitar one more run here. But and I can't remember if they got an extension out of him. I don't think they did they?
Yeah, 2 years.
Oh, they did do the 2-year deal.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like, that seemed I wouldn't have done that if I was LA. Right? That's the money that you would have had for Kopitar. You could have done something a bit better than that, than a 34-year-old winger, right?
I would tend to agree with that. And Panarin is not a guy personally I would want to take into the playoffs. That's just my 2 cents on it. I know that player is highly touted, but it doesn't do a lot for me a lot of the time. And, usually everybody's got their favorites, right? I'm an apologist for certain players, and everybody's got their favorites. But Panarin is one player that doesn't really do a lot for me.
I think I said in the chat, or our group chat, that I don't care where he goes, he ain't going to win. Right? I stand by that, because I don't think the LA is going to win with him. Not in the next 2 years or 3 years.
No, they took a big step back.
They did. Anyways, guys, we're at 95 minutes into the show here, so I think it's probably a good time to wrap it up. So we'll go around the horn, do our final thoughts, and let people know where they can find you, what you got coming up here. So Patrick, I'll start with you, and then we'll go to Kev, and I'll finish us off.
Well, I just want to say thank you to everybody in the chat for joining us tonight. It was definitely an interesting conversation. Had a lot of great interactions there. So thank you everyone for joining us. Obviously, this coming weekend's the big weekend. Get your tickets for the pre-party at the Canadian Ice House. We got the big game, Heavy Hockey versus Edmonton Sports Talk on Saturday. We've been talking all podcast about it. It's going to be a fantastic weekend. So donate to SACE. Can't wait to see you guys there if you can make it. And you can find me on YouTube at the Oilers Fanatic, on social media at Oilers Fanatic YT.
I don't have a lot to add, to be honest with you. The Heavy Hockey Showdown's my immediate focus for this weekend, and other than that, Low Tide next Wednesday at 1, and then the next podcast hopefully next Wednesday at 8 for Heavy Hockey. But other than that, just kind of getting everything ready for the showdown, directing some traffic there, and trying not to look like the worst hockey player on the planet all at the same time.
And yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Yeah, excited for the weekend. It's going to be a tremendous event. Once again, quick rundown: Friday night pre-party, Canadian Ice House, tickets $10, and game day Saturday, Team Heavy Hockey versus Team EST, downtown Community Arena, 1 till 4 p.m. Free to attend. Lots of great times to be had at both events. And we are going to be selling some merch, including these wonderful pucks. We got SACE on one side, Heavy Hockey on the other. These are going to be going for $10, along with some other merch. I think Patrick's going to be selling some Oiler Fanatic hats for $20 there. So come get those. Come get some pucks. Can get some. Yeah, there's Patrick, our lovely model, modeling the hat. Excellent. Yeah, it's going to be an incredible event for an incredible organization that does fantastic work in SACE. So come on out and support it any way you can. And with that, I'm going to say thank you guys for tuning in. This has been episode 12 of the Heavy Hockey Podcast. I'm Ryan Lotsberg for Patrick and Kevin McCurdy. Thanks for tuning in. Have yourselves a great night.